Okay. Welcome everyone to Group Dentistry Now's DSO Study Club webinar series. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes to file in before we get started. We will make sure that we hold true to the 1 hour webinar time. So if you are here, it means you have registered for a modern approach to enhancing patient coverage and elevating your group. We have with us today on the webinar, Brandon Dowdy-Ernst. He is the Vice President of Guest and Team Member Experience for DECA Dental. And we also have Valeri Cavalcante. She is the Senior Group Account Manager for Kleer. Thanks both of you for being on today.
Thanks, Bill.
So excited to be here.
So I am Bill Neumann. I am with Group Dentistry Now, and if for whatever reason you can't stay for the entire hour, we're going to make it captivating. So of course you're going to want to stay, but if you can't, there will be a recording available for you to access. You'll find it on our website, so at groupdentistrynow.com, or you can actually find it on our YouTube channel. So we won't have that right after the webinar, but within an hour after the webinar is over, you should be able to access it. We'll send out an email within tomorrow. And if you, for some reason, would like to share it, we would love you to share it with your entire team or other people that might be interested. Easy enough to do. But of course, you're here live, so you can also ask questions. And what we're going to try and do is feel free to ask the questions as we go along, but we're going to hold those off until the end. We should have between 5 and 10 minutes left at the end to answer any questions. And then we're also going to leave you with both Brandon and Valerie's contact information if you want to email them directly. So I think we are 2 minutes in, and that's what I told everybody. I'd give them 2 minutes to log in here, and we're going to get going. So again, this is the DSO Study Club, and this is a modern approach to enhancing patient coverage and elevating your group. So thanks for being here. I am going to start to advance the slides. Always have a little bit of a delay, but I think we're going to, there we go. Okay. Brandon, do you want to get started?
Sure. Thanks, Bill. And again, really glad to be here, and thank you for having me. Just wanted to, kind of discuss really high level. Many people on the call probably already know DECA Dental Group, but we, are an organization that we are, we feel like we're transforming dentistry together, and we are growing rapidly. It is no secret that we're doing that. And just committed to that, changing the world one smile at a time. I'm the VP of Guest and Team Member Experience here. And really all that means is just focusing in on the human factor, the patient-centric side, fostering, those cultures that care, and really kind of modernizing, that dentistry approach. And that's something that we feel strongly about, that not only our patients or our guests should be receiving, but also our employees as well. And if you haven't checked it out, just recently, of course, DECA Dental is based in Dallas-Fort Worth. Just recently, D Magazine is a magazine that, is very popular here in the Dallas area. They have a CEO edition. Our CEO, Dr. Salman Ahmed, was just featured in a 6-page spread in D Magazine CEO edition called the article called Dental Dynasty. So I invite you to check it out. It's a great feature article and a really nice read for anybody who's inspired by those sorts of stories.
That's great. And Salman was also a DSO influencer not too long ago on Group Dentistry Now. So yeah, that's great. And you're 130 plus locations, is that right?
Yes, and growing. I think there'll be even more to come and more states to come this year.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're in the process of outgrowing your first office and expanding, right?
I don't know if it's the first. I just know it's the this corporate office suite, we're busting at the seams. So we're moving into a new one. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Valerie, you are up next. Wonder if Valerie's muted.
No, I'm okay. Sorry, my internet was just cutting out there briefly. But I have you, Bill. Thank you again for having me. I'm excited to be here. And just to kind of go through a high level of Kleer. Kleer is a cloud-based platform that provides the support and technology to help practices really easily customize, design, implement, and grow a successful membership plan. So we were founded in 2016, and then after about a year plus of market research, officially launched in 2018. We are Philadelphia based. Very proud to say that today, your future Super Bowl champs here. But in any case, since then, we've experienced growth to over 7,000 dentists on our platform. That's across solo, group, and DSO practices in all 50 states. So again, it's been quite a journey. We've had the opportunity to really learn and grow with some of the organizations that we partner with, and just really helps kind of inform how we build the platform to suit the unique needs of each dental practice that we work with. We've actually recently released a practice management integration solution just to even further automate some of what goes with the management of a membership plan, more visibility to be able to track performance and then accelerating that member enrollment as a result. So I'm very excited to be here. I'll now just take a look at the topics that we're going to cover today and jump right in.
Absolutely. Before we do that, I forgot to do the 2 polls that we wanted to do. So before we get too far into things, these are very, very brief polls. This gives us an idea of who's on the webinar right now. So as I launch this first one here, you should see it. Can you let us know how many locations that you have? Hopefully we get some people that are actually not sleeping and can answer the poll. There we go. Beautiful. All right, getting a little activity here. Okay, give everybody another. There we go. Another person. Okay. Give you another 10, 15 seconds to answer this, and then we'll end the poll and we can share the results. Wonder if Valerie has any predictions as to who's the winner here. We see 100 plus. Is that going to win? Or is it going to be smaller than that?
I'm going to guess mid-market there, 31 to 50.
Okay. Brandon? You don't gamble?
I'll probably guess the one lower than that, 11 to 30.
Okay. All right. Let's end the poll. I think we've got everybody. Thanks for doing this one. So let's share the results. And it looks like, everybody see that on my side? It looks like maybe Brandon has won. So it's evenly split between 1 to 10 locations and 11 to 30. Both at 43% each. That's interesting. And then we had a couple that were large, 101 plus. So that's great. That gives us an idea. So now the next poll question we have is, do you actually have a membership plan? Yes or no? So this is easy. This is any guesses here? Brandon, I'll let you start.
I mean, most places I know of now do. So I'm going to say most is yes.
Yeah, I'll vote the same. It's definitely increasing as an option that practices are taking on. So I'm going to go with yes.
Maybe the better question would have been, is it an in-house plan or are you using a third party?
Yep. That's a good distinction.
But I didn't do that. So we'll have to just go with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple others here. Well, it looks like, based on this, that you're both right and everybody has a membership plan. Okay. we had done this about a year ago, and I will say that there were several people that didn't. So, okay, so everybody in the audience is familiar with what membership plans are, and we're going to talk a little bit about Kleer, and then, of course, how DECA Dental uses their membership plan.
Perfect. Yes, this is good news. This will make my part a little less exciting and Brandon's part a little more exciting. So in any case, I will start.
Did we lose you, Valerie? Do you hear her, Brandon, or no?
No, I don't hear her.
And
There, you're back. Sorry,
Yes.
can you repeat that, Valerie, just for a second?
Sure. Yep. So starting off with some of the challenges facing groups, right, as it relates to patient coverage options, and then what are some of the ways to really help ease some of these concerns that we'll be looking at, and enhancing coverage options around that. And then I will go ahead and Brandon will take over just to talk a little bit more about what it looks like to really take your group to the next level. And also promoting team accountability, right? Some practical ways to do that, setting goals, and then really celebrating success as a team when launching, an initiative like this to really be successful. All right, perfect. So diving into some of the challenges, we can move there to the next slide. So here is a Delta Dental survey, just taking a look at how patients relate to their routine dental care, right? And on the left, you can see that 95% of patients are in agreement that oral health is directly correlated to overall health, right? So this is great news just in terms of, patients really having that understanding and that education of why it's so important to take care of your oral health. But then on the flip side, we're seeing that nearly half of these same patients actually delayed or canceled hygiene appointments, right? Listing costs as the primary concern. So when we talk about challenges, we're really focusing on, right, just having that basic understanding that it's important to patients, but also how can we address some of these concerns and open up, new options to really approach the needs of your patients. Okay, and here's a visual that just further illustrates some of these reasons why patients may not see their dentist or haven't seen their dentist in the last 2 years. Focusing on cost and coverage, right, as the primary reasons. So you can see the vast majority actually responded with it's either too expensive or I don't have insurance, right? So makes perfect sense and just a good way to kind of lead us into kind of how we can broaden the coverage options and make it affordable and easy for patients to join. All right. Perfect. And then what are some of the feelings that go along with this, right? Not having coverage or feeling like maybe it's too expensive. That comes with this worry, right, about the cost of care. Maybe patients don't have a good way of determining price necessarily. So leading to that feeling of, oh, am I paying too much, right? Or is that door open to negotiate fees, right? And there's also, this discomfort in doing that. So just to kind of lend itself to what are some of the feelings around not having coverage that offering a plan can really help address. Perfect. And then looking at the numbers. So 1 in 3 adults in the United States and 2 in 3 seniors have no dental benefits, right? So these are certainly some big numbers and really kind of opens up the door to provide more value for these patients. In this case, 100 million uninsured patients, 38 million of which are still visiting their dentist each year, right? So that's a really great opportunity to provide and enhance, what you're offering at your dental practice for those some 150,000 patients, right, each day who are coming in and are ready to take care of their oral health. They just need, the right coverage option to be able to do that. All right. And then now that we've kind of looked at, right, some of the concerns, there's this question of, are patients interested? Do they want that dental coverage? Or would they prefer to just kind of continue to come in and pay the way that they have? Now, overwhelmingly, the answer is yes, right? Uninsured patients want dental coverage. 89% are interested in purchasing a dental care plan, but there are some factors, right? Some qualifiers. Certainly the interest is there, but they're looking for something simple, something that is transparent, and of course, affordability being the biggest factor here. Okay, and now just to move into some of the ways to really be able to ease these concerns that we've seen. You can move to the next slide there, Bill. Perfect. So the membership economy, just in terms of what we've learned and how this really relates to a dental organization, the membership economy really benefits any business that is dependent on repeat customers who might have other options available, right? So offering a membership plan is a way to create a long-term mutually beneficial relationship with your patients. And how that's done is, members, of course, are getting access to the services that they want. We're offering it in a simple way with convenient terms. And then on the flip side, the benefit to the organization is that membership patients or membership customers in this example get loyal customers, and they're purchasing 2 times more, right, than if they weren't a part of your organization or a part of your membership plan. Okay, perfect. And then here are some examples. So just to kind of illustrate what a membership plan on Kleer looks like and some of the ways that this can be customized to suit your practice. We have the child option here you can see on the right. There's an adult and then a perio plan as well, right? So these are just some examples that really build in the hygiene, right, to the plan itself, and then also offers some savings off of additional treatment, right? And of course, this is completely customizable within your control. So for a pediatric practice, for example, this might look a little different, right? Like you could certainly offer something for babies and toddlers, a child plan, a teen plan. It's really meant to be customized based on, your patient base. So again, just kind of a good example of how important it is that, although Kleer is really powering using the technology to make this easy for your office, how important it is that it's unique and branded and personalized to what the needs of your patients are. Perfect. And then why does a membership plan work? So the first step of this, of course, is that commitment to care. So when you join a membership and you have that understanding of being on the plan for a full year, I'm committing to that, right? There's this trust factor with the practice that, they're going to deliver on the services that have been offered. And then, of course, this idea of feeling financially savvy at the same time, right? I've utilized this new option and I've committed to my care. As a result, patients are completing, perfect, Bill. And then patients are completing 2 to 3 times more hygiene reappointments because, usage really equals value here. When you commit to it, you want to fully utilize what's included there in the plan. And then as a result, patients accept more care because 75% of treatment originates in hygiene, right? So it's kind of a simple idea, but it makes sense such that, the more commitment you have, the more face time you're getting with your patients really gives the opportunity to, for providers to present care, and then you have more acceptance based on some of the savings that your patients receive. Perfect. And so the effect. So just to tie it all together, we looked at what are some of those feelings about avoiding the dentist, and then kind of how can we provide, a new coverage option to address that. Now, what is the result, right? The membership effect itself is, this idea of feeling good about improving my oral health. I know it's important and I feel good about doing that. Feeling financially savvy again. I trust my dentist because this is a direct care model. It's simple, right? So they're not having to deal with some of the traditional barriers like deductibles, pre-approvals. None of that exists here. And then the feeling of, I feel special, right? Of course, I'm a member of my dental practice. I feel valued for that, to really be a part of it. And then peace of mind, right? Having the coverage really provides that peace of mind that patients are looking for. Perfect. Okay, so before I pass it over to Brandon, just to take a look here about how Kleer can really make it easy to not only create, but then manage and track a membership plan, regardless of the size or structure of your organization, whether you're looking to build plans at the office level, or maybe it's at the regional or the state level, or the enterprise level, right? We can really craft those plans in partnership with you, and the portal access is at the same tier, right? We're really able to kind of build that out based on what your organization needs. So very exciting. I did also want to address, there was one question just as far as the percentage or the fee that comes with joining Kleer and partnering with us. It's not on a percentage model. It's actually on a flat fee per patient per month model, right? So we have new tiers now available through Kleer. So it would be dependent, but it's on average about $3 per patient per month, just to help answer that question. But yeah, in any case, this is just a little bit more information about Kleer and how it looks. And then Brandon will start to share a little bit about his experience leveraging Kleer and being able to enroll on average 30% more patients per month through Kleer. So go ahead.
Thanks, Valerie. That's great. And Valerie brings up a great point. There were some questions, quite a few questions that came in ahead of time by people that registered, and so Valerie actually was answering one of those. We'll get to the bulk of those at the end, but again, feel free to ask any questions throughout the presentations that you see here or at the end, and we will make sure that we try and answer all those. But we're going to turn it over to Brandon now, and he can talk about his experience using a membership plan at DECA Dental.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bill and Valerie. Valerie did a great job of, kind of going over, some of those benefits that come with working with a discount plan administrator. I have been in dentistry going into 5 years now. I've worked with a couple of discount plan administrators, and this has been by far one of my most favorite experiences, just because of the the solid build out that Kleer has for being able to do all of these things that you see on the screen here. Really is the benefits of being able to self-serve, enabling your staff to self-serve with a portal like Kleer offers, whether that's at the office level or enterprise level like Valerie was talking about. It definitely builds that confidence, in their ability to, make sure that they can, sign up a patient on these plans, because it does all of these things. It centralizes that monitoring. It has that enterprise reporting. So then they feel empowered to be able to offer this directly to the patient or the guest in front of them, to say, hey, yeah, I can sign you up today. If you don't have dental insurance, it's only going to be X dollars, and we'll be able to offer you this much, discount on your treatment today. So we can look at signing up, and plus you include in that free exams, free x-rays, if you so choose for your organization, free cleanings, things along those lines. So benefits to self-serve really does, put the empowerment in the hands of the staff. And if you have a champion who can really help bring that to light for them and constantly, be, training with them, it is something that, goes very, very far for their practices, and they actually feel good about it. They feel good about helping, their patient that day. They feel good about helping Miss Smith because she came in with no insurance. So that's one of the benefits of working, I've seen working with Kleer so far. So we'll go to the next slide. Now, this is another big one for us here. We definitely want to train staff. Many people out there, sales gets a bad rap, right? When people hear the word sell, they think of the used car salesman and, a bad experience. And so we kind of combat that, right at the beginning by, talking about enrolling into sort of the psychology of it, right? You're enrolling into a plan that affords you benefits, right? So we want to do that enroll versus sell type of training and messaging, because that selling can feel forced and disingenuous, and kind of people automatically get resistant to it. But when you are enrolling, you're definitely, like Valerie said earlier in some of her slides, the building that trust. And we all know in dentistry that trust walk is huge with our patients. We definitely have to build that trust walk so that we can promote that patient relationship, open their dialogue, have them, let us be a partner in their oral health care, rather than, feeling like there's resistance, against us. So this is a big one for us, constantly focusing in on this because, you know, sometimes staff do feel like they're selling a program. But when you just, you know, encourage them, and that's a lot of what this is, just encouragement around, this is here to help our guests, you know, or our patients. This is not here to, you know, hinder them, you know, or make it worse for them. This is actually better for them. And then, you know, staff really understand, you know, once they are able to get some encouragement around that. So next slide. And then the other important parts to, especially at the enterprise level, running a program like this is the, you know, setting goals and communicating performance. This really has to happen. And they just have to be clearly communicated, especially at the enterprise level, so that they can just have insight and transparency into, you know, what are my peers doing, you know, in the space? How are they able to, you know, reach their goals or surpass their goals? You know, why am I struggling? It really kind of opens the dialogue where we can hold that accountability. We can involve other leaders in the organization to talk together and then, you know, formulate best practice plans for different office locations. So we communicate those metrics with them that, you know, they're able to see, what am I doing from week to week? You know, how am I performing from month to month? What are some things that, you know, we can do better? You know, in the summer months, you know, when we're really busy versus, you know, the winter months, maybe a little bit now when we're not so busy seasonally, right? So this is important because what matters to you matters to the team. And if you don't expose this on a constant, regular basis, whether it be on an operations call or, you know, through some form of, you know, communication that you have within your organization, it's just going to fall off the radar and it's not going to be important to them. All right, so we'll move into the next section here. It looks like promoting accountability and celebrating success, which is actually a good segue from the bullet point I just came off of. So we'll go to the next slide. So this is the team buy-in, and that is hugely key to success. And Valeri can attest to this, that when we launched with Kleer here at DECA Dental, we conducted, I don't know, I think there were 2 weeks worth of about 14 different training slots that people can sign up for. And of course, Valeri and I were on every single one of those. But the plan success did ultimately depend on that team buy-in and engagement. And we had to really model something. It had to be just squeaky clean as far as a rollout. Had to be super, you know, user-friendly so that people knew, where am I going to sign up somebody on this plan? How am I, you know, gonna, you know, make sure that, you know, I gather their payment correctly? You know, all of these other little things that have to happen in order for a plan like this to be launched. Their buy-in is so important right at the beginning. And when you make it easy for them and it's clearly communicated, that buy-in becomes second nature to them. They automatically just go, okay, great. This is, you know, this is awesome. So they know where to log in at. They know how to sign somebody up. And there's accountability in that shared responsibility, because then, like this says, the whole team does own the plan. And across the board, our discount dental plan here at DECA Dental for our ideal dental locations, everybody, you know, knows about it. They talk about it all the time. They talk about it even with PPO insurance patients, because most of the time PPO insurance patients know someone who does not have PPO insurance. So, you know, each member of the team does understand that the benefits of the membership plan has, you know, has on both patients and the office. It really does elevate, you know, their practice, and they know that. But that buy-in is critical. So we'll go to the next slide. And then maximizing that team engagement, you know, so the ways that we drive, you know, successful team engagement here, you know, you definitely have that designated flow in the office for how that membership plan is positioned and when it's talked about. Many dental practices are catching on that, there's a flow to the office, there's handoffs, all of these things, they know that. But it's like, where do we strategically insert, this particular talking point, right? Which is, a discount dental plan, and inserting that, say at check-in might not be the best place, but inserting that, right after, they get their probing done, or they have, their treatment plan, or whatever it is, inserting it and just adding little morsels throughout, talking about the plan when they don't have dental insurance. It definitely gives this surround sound messaging, if you will, and it allows them to talk about it freely without it seeming like, again, a sale. It's more of this enrollment into our plan. And of course, we incentivize this with goals and milestones here at DECA Dental, but your practices don't have to, because again, it's all about what's best for the patient. So we'll move to the next one. Yeah, best practices here. Yes, so we'll just recap on some of these best practices, creating those realistic goals for your office so that the teams can stay on track, and a reinforcement of these goals, communicate these goals within the group so that they have transparency into what's going on. And then making sure that everyone from the team is informed and bought in, huge, especially when you go to launch, or if you're shifting from one program, from one discount plan to another, just having everything squeaky clean for them so that they have, easy user friendliness with the tool set for the discount plan. And then definitely have a champion, the person to be the main point of contact for DECA Dental. That's myself for our discount dental plan. And we certainly, keep that going and keep that dialogue going when it comes to ideal dental plan. I'm sure everybody here at DECA is tired of me talking about it, but they know it's important. And if I were to really ask anybody here, they know that our guests absolutely love it. It's something that they often get. I get stories often from staff here that say, oh my gosh, the guest was like, they didn't even know about this. They didn't even know they could, do something like this. And with more and more layoffs that we're seeing in the tech industry right now, this is going to be something that is going to be, really critical for your practices to have, so that there are options that guests feel like, wow, I can actually, go get my dental work done now. So that's what I have for you today. I'll hand it back over to Bill.
Yeah, that's great. Let's do I'm going to stop the screen share for right now, and then we'll jump back in with the contact information right at the end, but make sure everybody's get a chance to see us up close and personal. So we had some questions that came in, and I wanted to go over a couple of them. Again, I think some of these you touched on, but maybe we want to dive a little bit deeper. This one's a great one. So how do you get staff buy-in to promote, utilize membership plans so they are successful? And I know that, Brandon, you talked a little bit about the incentives, but is that the only way? And did you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think another piece to this, so buy-in at the beginning is, again, certainly making it user-friendly. That user friendliness allows for that level of buy-in to say, hey, I can do this. This is real easy to enroll a patient, or a guest on this, no problem. But as time goes on, as they're starting to enroll people on the plan, to continue that same level of buy-in is to show utilization. How many people are signing up? Like we showed in a slide earlier that, we've increased our signups or enrollments on average 30% each month. And that is because the guests are realizing that they have, these discounts, available to them. And then that in turn allows the practice to see, oh, wow, we can get more same-day treatment for this, or we can get more, crowns or bridges, or, more major treatments, on our schedules. And that in itself creates, team buy-in. But you do have to champion that along the way, or again, it can just get, lost under the radar.
So is this mostly like the office managers that are handling this, as far as when you talk about team?
Yeah, so in our practice, yes, the office managers are the champion for the microcosm of their office, right? And then their regional managers and directors, of course, champion for their regions and what for so on. But the office managers really do a good job of really taking our message, from DECA Support Center, and then relaying that message to their teams. So the dental assistant is talking about it, the hygienist is talking about it, even the dentist himself is talking about it, knowing that they don't have insurance, and they know what their chief complaint is that day, and it's like, hey, I know I can get you this filling done today, or this 3 surfaces filling done today, whatever it is, right? So yes, it's the office managers that are really the champion within their offices. Yes.
Valerie, you mentioned it earlier on in your part of the presentation, but with these plans, they're customizable, right? So it's not just customizable per DSO, but it could be by region or geography, right? So you could have DECA could theoretically have a different plan in different locations, right?
That's right. Yeah. So depending on, like you mentioned, the structure of your organization, you might want something that.
Oh, you're frozen.
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
Brandon will pick it up.
Yeah.
At the state.
There you go.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Just a second. So we're good.
Just a second. Okay, good. But yes, and then you could essentially build out plans at the state level, or you could have one single plan that is, similar for your entire organization, right? So really just depends on what you're looking for, and it's all completely customizable in that way.
And that's something that DECA or another group could do, right? So this is not something that you have to go to Kleer and have them do it. It's when we say customizable, it's customizable at the DSO level.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely. Certainly. I mean, in terms of, like we talked about, with the different types of plans, the structures, how we build out the portals and the support systems based on that, yes, it can be customized in any way that you need.
A question here that came in regarding analytics. I think that's always that. So how do we measure, and what are we looking at? Maybe Valerie, you could talk about it high level, and then Brandon, I'd love to hear from you kind of what it is that you're really interested in seeing.
Right. So in terms of performance, right, we really kind of look to illustrate and bring visibility into how many enrollments there are for practices. We're looking at things like cancellations, right, renewal rates, long-term retention, that are really some of these key factors that can help the plan grow and be successful over time, right? And then as we look at like specific results for practices, we also tend to bring to light, how much in terms of collections and productions and treatment acceptance that you see as a result of patients joining a membership plan that isn't something that can necessarily be attained or managed or even measured without that structure of the membership plan behind it. So that's where we kind of focus in terms of analytics, and we're growing our platform as well to just provide more visibility, get more feedback to really bring to light some of these important metrics.
That's great. Brandon, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, for sure. I know that in working with Kleer, the enterprise portal that we have access to definitely gives us insight into some of the key KPIs that we want to see, which Valerie mentioned already. Certainly enrollment rates, cancellation rates. Coming up for us will be reactivation rates. Those will be pretty high level KPIs. But then in turn, we're able to take that and move that over to our internal analytics tool and team, and really kind of see what is the utilization happening inside of this. And I know that Valerie said earlier that Kleer is working on something of their own even to expose that. But here internally at DECA, we're able to really kind of see what utilization is happening based on the number of enrollments we're getting. And that has been, really impactful, because then we're able to see, well, most often these guests who sign up on this plan would have probably walked out the door without getting any treatment, or would have walked out the door getting some, very small amount because it's what they could afford, right? And this, really does help us capture, what it is that, we're getting in that regard, over and above what we, normally would. And it's a great insight, and one of the some of the main, analytics that we follow for it.
That's pretty interesting there. I'm trying to, so membership plans, they're relative. Maybe they're not relatively new, but they're certainly much more modern now. Do you feel, Brandon, like that your customers, your patients, are they looking at this and either going, well, you mentioned like, wow, I didn't know this was even available, but do you think that some of the patients are becoming a little bit more sophisticated? Like, hey, this is something that, we talked about subscription based. People are used to that now. So is this welcomed by the majority of your patients?
Oh, absolutely. And most often, if you are building a good patient experience and a trust walk with them, they are going to be very happy that you have something like this to offer. Because we know that, subscription, model inside of, business, any business, not just dentistry industry, right? That subscription model is key for some stickiness with your customers. And certainly that's something that we want, with our guests, because we have seen so many of our doctors stay with our DECA Dental group for a long, long time. I was just visiting a practice yesterday and to learn a doctor who has been here for 13 years. And it just was one of those things that, really not surprised me, but was really, nice to hear. Because these doctors, have these relationships with these patients, and the patients keep coming back time and time again to see these doctors. But sometimes those patient journeys, their life circumstances change, layoffs, marriage, kids, all of these things. And so having this, offering for them really does help, keep bringing them back. And it's something that they are sophisticated to now, because some of them even know that their dental insurance isn't very good. And some of them will opt to sign up on this plan instead of their dental insurance because they can get, better benefits with the plan.
So this really ties into the next question here. So Valerie, you had some examples of some packages that you had up there, just examples. I'm kind of curious, like one was pediatric focused, there was another one that looks like it was more preventative, and then there was another one that added in perio. What are some of the more popular, scenarios that a lot of the groups that you're using, that work with Kleer, seem to be using? And then I'd love to hear what DECA kind of has honed in on.
Yeah. So what I was showing on that slide, Bill, exactly what you mentioned, those are some of the more, more commonly offered plans, right? And for the reason of simplicity, right? We like to build plans, and most groups tend to build plans that patients can really just take a look at it and understand, I'm an adult patient, I'm a child patient, or I'm a perio patient. So really just being able to do that. Those are the three most commonly used plans, and they all do include preventative care, right? So you might have child pro fees that we built in versus adult pro fees, or potentially perio maintenance. So down to the details of what that hygiene care looks like for each patient group. And then in addition to that would include some additional savings off treatment, right, across the board, anything that's not there in the membership itself.
Right.
Yeah, I would just add that, having these price points, right, for your guests in these plans is definitely, that's the sensitive subject, yes, because they're coming in with no insurance, most likely, and nobody wants to pay, the full UCR fee. But certainly it's one of those things that we can just help them out with in the pricing. And the one thing that I really, when signing up with Kleer, loved about Kleer was the option to either one, pay in full, or two, have the monthly payment options. those monthly payment options for, a lot of our guests is really critical. But a lot of times, they go ahead and pay in full because they know it's a full 12-month agreement anyway, much like your, Amazon Prime services or what have you. So they go ahead and pay in full anyway. But for those who really need that, monthly, month-to-month payment option, it's there. And again, that's just another touch point with the patient or the guest where we're able to, really kind of help build that trust again with them.
Yeah, that's a great point, just in terms of the customization, and that it looks like at the plan level, but also some of these additional options, right, that your practice or organization may or may not need. Something like how they can pay for the plan, additional options for family members, including, excluding certain things, customizing benefits. A lot of that is where it can be, even more kind of honed in to what you need at your practice.
And the one thing I'll just add to that is I really love the capability that Kleer brings to the table when it comes to a guest being able to log into their own portal. So a guest can log into their own portal, see their own family members in there, see what, their benefits are. They can even look at what we, we'll call it an insurance card or their membership card, right? They can see all of that in their own login portal, which is, a great opportunity to have with your guests or your patients, where we're not having to fully build that out here at DECA. Kleer has already done a wonderful job with that.
I've got a couple of other questions here. We may even be able to send people on their way a little bit early, but I've got two that are tied pretty closely together here. So there's a question about ensuring patients across all offices are getting similar experiences. So who wants to start with that one?
Yeah, this is definitely a broader question, but making sure that patient experience is something that is, we all know, is really important in the dental world, and something that we focus on. I think everybody focuses on day in and day out to make sure that patient is really getting the best experience possible. Standardizing that experience across your practices is certainly something that is an operational objective, and you really want to start to hone in on a very simplistic flow that people can follow, and that you can roll out across not just your regionals or your directors, but your office managers, and have them follow that same model. A lot of that is, this human to human touch point, right? Where I can't just send out a PDF of the model and say, here it is, this is standardized now, and expect it to be implemented. Some of that has to come with the relationships that we have in our own internal teams, and really helping to champion what that experience looks like, because it is case by case. We know how patients are. They have different needs that we have to meet. So it's not always exact when it comes to that patient flow, but when you have it in nice buckets to be able to speak to when it comes to those handoffs is really where the flow, you can create a model of a flow after a check-in and hand off to, the x-rays, and then hand off to the chair, and then hand off to the doctor or the hygienist or provider, whoever it is, and then check out. Those are all areas where you can develop that, experience and really get something that is specific to you and your organization.
Brandon, you mentioned it earlier. You really you don't necessarily refer to them as patients, you refer to them as guests.
Yeah.
And I think that that puts a lot of things in perspective, because I know dentistry in particular, when you talk about patient experience, that could just be the clinical outcomes, right? And so as long as the clinical outcomes are great, then that's the patient experience. But patients, guests don't just want that now. They want everything from great clinical outcomes to actually options like membership plans and coming into a practice that they feel comfortable. And So
Yeah, I mean, guest is something that actually when I joined DECA, something that was new to me, but it is not a new concept. Target is well known for calling their, customers guests, right? And it's just it's a psychological play, just to say that, I'm going to, invite somebody into my home as a guest. Just like we would invite somebody into Target as a guest or Ideal Dental as a guest, right? It just changes the psychology ever so slightly. It's not huge, but ever so slightly to help, understand that I'm here to make your experience a good one today, and you're my guest, right? So it's definitely something that, and you're right on the clinical side with the patient outcomes. Many patients don't know what their outcome is. They just know they're out of pain, or they know that their filling is done, right? And a lot of them sometimes don't even know, well, that filling was, maybe a B grade or C grade. They don't know that, right? They only know that, how their experience was in the practice. And, it's certainly something that when we treat them as guests, it's gonna probably help bring them back.
Absolutely. This is another important thing. So you could have the best membership plan in the world, but if you don't have great onboarding and training, then you're not going to get the office manager buy-in, right? The team member buy-in. So I'd love to hear, I mean, you touched on it, and Valeri, it sounds like you were involved, and Brandon, you were involved in all the different trainings that you had. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience is like?
Yeah, I could start, Brandon. And Brandon did a really great job just in terms of spearheading this. And like he mentioned, we had several training sessions available over about a 2-week time frame that,
Frozen again.
I know. She'll
It's
come
okay.
back.
She always hit the best parts. There we go. Go ahead, Valeri.
now, oh my
You're
God.
good. You're good.
But in any case, did a really great job of kind of joining, introducing what the training was for, and really helping to get everyone, behind the goal of the Ideal Dental Plan, right? So just kind of having him there and having us both do it in partnership was a really great way to standardize it, number one, right? Make sure we were covering the same material, the same types of talking points, the same processes and systems, for handling questions and how to address, guests in this situation. But in any case, that was, how we do it and how we can kind of further iterate down the line on retrainings and, really making sure that everybody kind of remains on board and is saying, similar things and feeling the same type of way about the plan itself. So, Brandon, if you want to kind of touch on that as well, your experience with trainings.
Yeah, so I think the question is really a lot about onboarding. Yes, so getting folks onboarded into, say, new office managers or new directors, making sure that they are aware of the plan, not only aware of it, but being a champion as well in their practices. And for us, to me, that goes back to the slide that I showed earlier, which is about that setting goals and communications. Because this is clearly communicated all of the time inside of our organization, we do hold onboarding, sessions for this, for their training, and most of our, positions here get a full onboarding training. I think it's like 1 or 2 weeks, and it's inclusive of Ideal Dental Plan and some of the training recordings that we even did, before. But when those goals are set and we clearly communicate on the Ideal Dental Plan all the time, then that creates a sense or a level of accountability with the office manager or whoever to see that, oh, my office is on this list now, but I don't know anything about Ideal Dental Plan because maybe I skipped that portion of the onboarding, whatever it may be. So it in turn holds that self-accountability where they go back, they learn about it, they even reach out to me with questions, which is great, because then they start to get engaged with, what our Ideal Dental Plan offers guests, and they get excited about it. They get excited to be able to offer this to guests because they know it means more treatment, for their practices.
That's great. We've got 5 minutes left. So what I want to do is first off, thank both of you for being on the show today and on the study club. We've got, pulled the screen back up here. Hopefully everybody can see it. We have Brandon's contact information here, and then also Valerie's. Any final thoughts, Brandon and Valerie, before we let everybody get back to the daily tasks at hand?
Yeah, so honestly, just to say thank you, of course, again, for having us. Really appreciate everyone joining. Just excited as far as, some of what, technology and what Kleer is able to provide to dental organizations to just really help improve patient, experience, of course, and just being able to offer some new types of coverage options that really fit well within your organization. So again, we're excited about some of the growth that we're seeing and some of, these new iterations that we're making to be able to integrate and really even improve and automate some of these processes even more for you. So excited about what's coming. I hope to hear from some of you, and appreciate you having me on, Bill.
Thanks, Valerie. Brandon, I think you have the last word.
Oh, man. So putting me on the spot. Well, first, yes, thank you, Valerie, for being here with me. That was big moral support for me. Thank you. And then Bill, just really humbled and appreciative of being on today. So really thank you for that. My, just final thought would be for anybody who's considering, implementing this or like revamping their, discount dental plan that they may already have. Is really just, stay the course with it. Be consistent, stay the course. Don't give up on it, because that's when they just kind of all fall apart, right? Make sure that you're, just clearly communicating and keeping up with your, metrics. To me, over time, this is a long-term play for your practices. It's not something that is a quick, it can be a quick win to get it up and launched, but it's not something that you can just let go of. It's something to stay the course with, because this will keep bringing your guests or your patients back to your offices time and time again, because they've built that trust with you. And if you just don't give up on it and you keep being a champion for it and you teach others to be a champion for it, it will be successful.
That is a great way to end things, Brandon. Okay. Well, again, thank you everybody for taking time this afternoon to find out about the DECA Dental Group and Kleer's relationship. I think we got a lot of great information. Again, if you want to reach out and find out more, you can reach out to Brandon. His email address is brandonde@decadental.com. And also Valerie, now I'll spell that for you because she spells it VALERI at Kleer, which is KLEER.com. So you can reach out to either one of those of the guests. See, I use guest. Or you can reach out to me. It's bill@groupdentistrynow.com. So until next time, I'm Bill Neumann, and this is the DSO Study Club. Thanks again. Appreciate it, Brandon, Valerie.
Thank you.